Where, oh, where can my new co-host be? You'll just have to see. Hello, and welcome to the upper deck. And coming right up, here we go. Hey, Lori, good morning. I want to introduce everybody watching now and everyone watching later. My new co-host, this is Jonna Perlinger. And I was so happy to have Jonna with me as my co-host moving forward. Jonna, welcome to the first show.
Thank you so much. This is actually my third show, but my first
Yes.
show as a co-host. And I have enjoyed every single time that I've been on here. So, and you have great interaction in the chat. So I'm excited about that too. Good morning, everybody.
Yes. So, and I was telling Jonna that everyone's been clamoring. Are you going to be playing musical hosts forever? Are you going to be, alone forever? And so here we are. And here she is, and I've been waiting a while to announce her, and super thrilled. And like Jonna mentioned, this is her debut as co-host, but she's been a guest on the upper deck a few times already. And Jonna, why don't we just start off with you telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm very active on Yankees Twitter. So a lot of you probably already know me on there. Yeah, somebody said I see Jonna's posts on X. So I am on. My handle is actually here on the screen at 90s Yanks Kid. So go ahead and give me a follow over there. So yeah, very interactive on Twitter during the games and actually not during the games as well. I have a separate podcast that I started about actually a little over a year ago called Babes. And we've had a lot of really cool, fun guests on over there. And we cover every aspect of baseball, not just current news and stats and things like that. So we had actually the organist on from Wrigley Field. We've had a tour guide on from Fenway who gave a virtual tour. And we had the executive director on from Rickwood Field. So we just like to connect with all kinds of people. And I also write for Fansided and Jersey Sporting News. So I cover the Yankees and then I cover the league. What else, Lynn? Oh, I make T-shirts too. That's a new thing that I've been doing. So that's called 108 Stitch Co. And I call that 108 Stitch Co. because there are 108 stitches on a standard baseball.
That was such a brilliant name to come up with. And yeah, she's such a slacker, as you all can tell. Just I don't know how she found more minutes in a day to join me, but I'm just thrilled. And let me just start off with the roll call because the gang's all here, and some of them, many of them actually rolled with us during our 12. I almost said 12-month. Well, it kind of felt like 12 months. Our 12-hour fundraising marathon yesterday for Alzheimer's, for the World Alzheimer's Coalition. But I want to say good morning to Lori, my sister Karen, CWE, what's up, FJ. Hey, morning, Joe. And let's see, we got the Strike Zone. Hey, NFE, great to see you. And Maz on the Ford Trade Express. Woo, what's up? And so let's just, and Frederick, good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you here with us again. So as usual, we're going to start with the trivia question of the week. And already you're going to see Jonna's skills at play here as a designer, because look at the new and improved trivia question of the week. No more Google Docs from Lynn. Nope. We are fancy now. Okay, so here it is. On August 25th, oh, my birthday. On August 25th, 2011, I wasn't born in 2011, but It was. Um, the Yankees became the first team in MLB history to have three players hit a grand slam in the same game. Two of the Yankees were Robbie Cano and Russell Martin. Who was the third? So ingest it, think about it.
Robbie Cano, don't you know?
Don't you know? So yeah, and we're getting reviews on the graphics there. I dig it. Yep. It got taste and style, NFE. And so I'm seeing a couple of guesses rolling in. Posada, Granderson. Okay, well, you know the drill. We'll let you know after at the end of the show. So let's roll with what do you want to do first? You want to roll it? You want to do the hot take of the week?
Sure.
Okay. Why don't you introduce the
Yeah.
concept?
Okay, so the concept is a hot take is just like an unpopular opinion. Um, and so do you want me to go ahead and kick off
Yeah,
with mine?
yeah, do it.
My unpopular opinion is that Clay Holmes is my closer. The guy through 5 games has a 0 ERA. I don't understand what more people want from this guy right now. One, two, who in our bullpen could honestly take his spot at this point? I just don't see a more reliable person in that role right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all for Clay Holmes. So that's my hot take of the week.
Okay. And let's see. Let's see how that's polling with the chat. NFE is on board. I agree with that take 100%. Let's go. All right. So that's a strong yes. I think I think my issue with Holmes, I know my issue with Holmes is you either get the good Holmes or the let me bite my nails and grab some Rolaids Holmes. And you just don't know which one you're gonna get. And yeah, I like how he's been starting out. But I know we'll never have another Mo. And there shouldn't be. Mo was Mo, but somebody more consistent and reliable. So you're like, oh, my closer's coming in to save the day, instead of, oh my God, what are we going to get? And who else could have done it? Unfortunately, the news broke that it's not going to be Johnny Lowe. And so because he's out for the season, and he probably wouldn't have been him anyway. But and Lori's saying that he's hard to watch, but the numbers don't lie. My sister Karen agrees with you, and so does Joe. And Joe's saying just wish he had better control. And the thing is, when he's got it, he's got it. I mean, when he's locked in, he's in command and control.
Yeah. Last year, he did average 10.1 strikeouts per 9 innings, which I realize this year he only has 2 strikeouts so far. So that's a little bit, concerning. He does give away a lot of grounders, but the grounders that have been hit on him this year, I don't think have been his fault. Two like questionable plays by Volpe. So yeah,
Yeah,
I understand but I think we've been so spoiled. We were so spoiled by Mo that like I don't. If you look at around the league and you like look at Josh Hader, he's having a horrible start to the year. So
yeah.
I'm very happy that we have Clay Holmes right now.
Yeah, and in hindsight, maybe it's great that we didn't get Hater. We hated that we didn't get Hater, but and FJ saying Holmes has given up 7 hits in 5 innings. He has the most saves so far. He allowed both inherited runners to score. Yeah, hit or miss in general with the bullpen. Um, I have to agree with that, but I think all in all, Holmes aside, or even included, I think we have a stack of pen. And we could always use another arm out there, but I've just come to understand that Holmes is our closer. I don't see them bringing in anyone else, or frankly, can think of anyone else to take the shot at. And yeah, go ahead, John.
No, yeah, no, that's the thing. I feel like if you look at the pen, I don't see a replacement right now. Last
Right,
year, obviously, we had King and we could, you know, use the both of them, but
right,
um,
right.
as a setup situation. But this year, like as you mentioned, I was very excited coming into the season because I felt like our bullpen was underrated. But I mean, we have had the lowest ERA, like, I don't know, several. We've been in the lowest, what, three ERAs the last 6 years or so. Um, but now with Jonathan Loizaga, that's very concerning because I don't know who we're going to bring into his spot. Um, I do really like Caleb Ferguson for that
Yeah.
spot to
Yeah.
eat up several innings. He wasn't an option last night though because we
Right.
used him on Friday. So
Right. And not at his best, for sure on Friday.
right,
But yeah, I think we're going to see good from Ferguson, and I also think we're getting Canely back soon,
yep,
and that's going to help.
that's going to be
Um,
huge.
that's
Yeah,
going to help. What also might help, which is also slash unfortunate, is when Cole gets back, um, if if um, if Heel is really producing, and we're going to get second shot at him today, um, there might be a question, and it's been talked about a lot. It was almost my hot take for today. Um, is that does Nestor go to the pen?
right.
And
Yep.
if Nestor goes to the pen, perhaps he's the one that, can be the closer, um,
Or he could be the one that eats
or the
up
long man.
some innings.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because Lori's right. We're already in a situation right now where we got to be careful about our pen. But it's gonna be next pitcher up for a while now with our ace gone. And Rodon is getting out of jams, but he's another one that's like, um uh, Tums on the stock market is rising um between him and Holmes. But so it's a little, as deep as we are on paper, it's a little bit sketch right now. And so let's see what's
So
so
to this point, FJ, technically Hill should have had a win in his first start, but Boone took him out 1 out before. Right. Yep. Joe mentions that he was at the game. Hill pitched versus the Diamondbacks, looked good. So technically Hill should have had that win. He had one, he was 1 out away, and Boone took him out.
right. Right. Yep. Easy choice for the bullpen, but we'll have to see how he does. Right, in the next couple of months. And I was against even the thought of it because I'm a Nestor fan. I'm a Nestor supporter, and I feel like give him just a little bit more time, coming back from an injury. But that applies to many players. And do we have the time to give people time? I don't know, but yeah, same NFE. And so, all right, the let me go with my hot take. Um, so my hot take, I'm stealing from my friend Chris Vitale, from Ball Nine. He has a podcast on Tuesday nights. The name is escaping me because I haven't had much rest, but um, his guest this week was John Flaherty. And Chris himself was a catcher up through college. And so it was a catcher conversation. And Chris's hot take was that he can't stand that catchers are one knee down, that like across the league, it's what he's seeing virtually with every catcher. And just sort of put that question to Flash. And Flash, I think predictably, he's a straight and narrow kind of traditionalist. And I was, the prediction was right. He said that he doesn't agree with it at all. He doesn't support it at all. And exactly what he described came to be in real life with Trevino on Saturday night, because what Flaherty said was it compromises so much for a catcher. You don't have the same range of motion, the quick action, turning, etc. And so, regardless of how good they are at framing and you know, determining what pitches are needed, etc., that he sees that as a flaw and unnecessary. He really doesn't see much benefit to it. And I think everyone in the chat knows, because I know everyone in the chat watches like we do. Um, you know, there's no excuse for Trevino not getting that play at home. But his left knee was down, facing the third baseline, and that ball got past him. And so, no way that tag shouldn't have been made. Whereas the concept is, if he were in standard position, he would have easily pivoted and made the sweeping tag. So, what do
Mhm.
you think, Jonna?
Yeah, I agree. It's something I really hadn't thought about, but um, yeah, I agree with Joe. One knee down does make it harder to get up and throw in a steal situation as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I just don't know that Trevino is like that quick anyway
right.
he's strong, but I don't know that he's that quick to make that transition anyway with one knee, especially with one knee down.
Yeah, and I also wonder what it's doing to their physicality as well, over time. If that's how and it drove me crazy when Sanchez did it.
Hmm.
Sanchez is when I really started paying attention to it, because maybe he started the whole, maybe we blame him, because I hadn't really noticed it with anyone else. And um so you're giving a lot more strain on one leg, one knee, one thigh than the other, or in different ways. And I wonder if that over time has impact. And maybe then Tommy John won't be the epidemic surgery going on. Maybe there'll be another one for the legs. But yeah, and Karen, by the way, yeah, Karen saying Trevino um isn't very mobile. And so Karen, as a nurse, um, I wonder what you think. Put it in the chat what you think about what it could be doing to a player, pivoting in that awkward way, rather than what they've been trained to do more naturally. Just kind of curious about that, if you have any thoughts about that. Um, all right, so let's talk about it last night.
That was electric. That's that's the team that we root for, right? Man, that was fun. And I don't know about you, but I had seen a lot of like trash talking on Stanton the last couple days. People were like, sit him, sit him. I was kind of the same. I was of the same view. I was like, why are we wasting our time? I mean, I love Stanton, but it's really not worth like one home run every 5 games. Like it's just not. Not when Wells and Cabrera are not Wells so much, but Cabrera
Yeah.
sitting on Friday didn't make any sense, and then not even pinch hitting him. Um, so yeah, I was kind of the same view, and then here Stanton comes, and he was 3 for 4 last night.
Yeah, same. I during the 12-hour marathon, literally with every guest we had on, I caved and I said, "Yeah, you're right. He should really be, first of all, lower down in the lineup, and also taking more just days on the bench." And I found myself agreeing, and I felt like Judas. I really did, because I, two players that I've defended endlessly. One was Guardy, and one is Stanton. But it got harder and harder, and what, face it too, it's still going to be hard, because you know again, manage your expectations. He's still going to be a streaky hitter. Um, but um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a nerve-wracking game, D. Rod says.
yeah, yeah, and that was definitely right. Hey, D-Rod, and hey, Frank, thanks for joining. TC, good to see you. Yeah, so of course they have to make us nervous. Why? You
Well, I
know,
don't know why we had to give up so many runs. Like we ended up having to burn through the bullpen. That's a problem. Um, Luke Weaver is just not that like mid inning or that mid game reliever. He just his last two outings he just has not looked good. He's not very reliable. Um, I yeah, we used up too much of the bullpen. Granted, hopefully we won't have to use up too much of the bullpen with the Marlins coming in. completely defeated still. They have not won a game yet. So I don't know. My fingers are crossed. We won't have to burn the bullpen the next couple of days, but
Right. Yeah. Well, and hopefully today, with the last game, yeah. But and I can't hang my hat on the Marlins. On paper you're like, oh, phew, they finally get a break. What a hell of an opening run.
yeah,
Can't look at it that way.
no, you cannot. The Tigers and the A's, well, the Tigers are good this year, but like the last few years, you just could not rely on that series being the one that you get a break. Like that's just not how it works.
No.
So,
And really, we shouldn't think that way about any team. There's always surprises. You got to play every game like you're playing the top team. And strike zone saying, yeah, I agree with Schmidt being pulled out when he did. And also that, you know, Weaver should have been yanked earlier. What do you think, Jana?
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could sympathize that, Boone's probably worried the same way we are about, burning up the pen. But at the same time, um, yeah, that was unfortunate. And there were other people he could have gone to. So, um,
One
all right.
thing I do want to give Boone credit on, though, is he's not trying to get too fancy with the lineup, switching it up every game. He is sticking mostly with what's working, which that's new for him.
Right. Right. And D Rod has a really good point here. He's expected to replace King.
Yeah,
I don't know. Now I got eyes on that. I'm not so sure that we'll have to see. It's a small sample size still. Um, but last night wasn't it. Um, and I was just so stoked after those, because it was the Holy Trinity, right? It was Judge, Rizzo, Stanton all showing up. I mean, Judge had already done it the game before, but Rizzo had been a concern since the season started, and the three of them just out there being them
just
was,
going off. That was fun. It
yeah,
really was. The
yeah.
Holy Trinity, I like that. I called them the Bomb Squad. I posted a
Ooh,
photo,
okay,
that GQ photo that was done of them uh,
yeah.
last season or the season before, but I posted that one and the Bomb Squad.
I see a T-shirt coming that I'm gonna
Yeah.
order. Um, so and okay, so FJ is pivoting us to today. So yeah, Heel on the Hill. What are we thinking? How do you think we're looking there?
I think Boone's going to continue to protect him at all costs. He's coming off a huge injury where he was out the entire year last year, and he throws heat. He just does. So I feel like his pitch count, they're going to keep it as low as they can.
Yep, and this is his comeback opportunity. And so I think it's going to be, all in on auditioning mode and getting a spot, vying for what could be a potential spot in the rotation for good when things are settled and Cone is back. Um, Cole is back. Cone.
Cone. I mean, I wish we could get Cone back.
Oh, me too. I didn't mean to say that.
No, I knew what you meant. I do love Tony. He's in your head, right? Because he's always in the booth. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Good save, partner. Thank you. But literally everyone in the chat knows I do this every week. One thing's in my head, something else comes out of my mouth. God bless them for sticking with me. Um, and so, and Joe's guessing 80 pitches for Heel. TC is saying 5 innings. Strike Zone is saying Heel needs to be protected. I agree with all three of those things. I don't want to overextend them. But at the same time, when I think about the way the bullpen went last night, I'm thinking if he's still shoving and not showing any slowdown at 80 pitches, then I'm going to keep going until something seems a little wonky and pull. But the thing is, you really can't trust Judd. Trust. Yeah. slow down, Lynn. Trust Boone with that judgment. Because he tends to wait a bit, like
I
we saw
just
yesterday.
don't see them doing that with Hill yeah, with his injury recovery and everything, and because he does throw so hard, his exit velocity and everything is so high. I feel like they're just not gonna like push his limits. If
Right,
anything, I feel like they pull him too soon.
right. Yeah, and that's likely true. And I wonder, going back to Trevino for a second, the other half of the Trevino equation has been his bat has not been good at
Yeah.
all either.
Mm.
And so, I would really hope that even if they had to call Rice up or something, I feel like they have to be a little bit careful with Trevi. I'm really wondering, he's newly back too from a surgery, and so maybe that's part of what we're seeing on both sides of the plate from him. And
I wonder too, because he was so used to just being our number one guy like all of last year. And
yeah,
um, if like, I mean, if it's getting into his head a little bit that he's kind of having to share the duty with Wells, um, but I think he could possibly be, this could be another hot take. I think he could be a good trade piece at the deadline because we do have so much catching depth.
yeah,
And I mean, we kept him obviously because he's the veteran over Rortvet, but uh, I could see him being a good trade piece.
yeah. I could too for sure. And yeah, I just think, and I'd like to see Wells get even more time in the show. Because liking what we saw during spring training, let's test out the theory while we can. And, if it also means, getting Rice up here for a little bit of a sample size too, because I do think that, where we're not covered is when, if Cabrera is going to stay at third and DJ's going to stay out for a bit, then we have to worry about Rizzo, and at least Rice could cover that. There's going to be a lot of that chess piece stuff going on,
Yeah.
and probably all season like this. But what's nice is we have more pieces than we had last year to do that with.
Yeah. I think
FL, what's up? Yeah, you want to see Narvaez. Um, so um, yeah, Narvaez before Rice. I'm assuming that means two, but um,
yeah, I think it's a little too soon, probably. Um, but I want to go back to your point about Rizzo though, and with first base. And I think somebody mentioned when DJ comes back, then he can be a good bench piece, a good utility. I think him and Cabrera should just always be in the lineup and always be utility somewhere. But I don't know. Maybe Cabrera will be our everyday third baseman. But I do think the consistency for DJ is going to be important too, because I actually think injury can happen more often when they're not in the lineup as frequently, especially at his age.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
do get a little bit nervous about the stride that we have right now, and anytime like we have an injury and someone comes back and it breaks the stride, it breaks the momentum, and then there's another piece of the puzzle, and that makes me a little bit nervous.
right, yeah. And FJ is saying he has a feeling that they're looking at Rice as a future first baseman. So
Yeah.
so that kind of jives also with what you're saying and what I was saying earlier. TC, you're asking about Torrens. Again, I'm not so sure if it's too soon for him. Is he double or triple A? I'm not remembering off the
Actually
top of my
don't
head.
know.
And
Feel
and
like double.
yeah, I think so too. And Karen, what I would say to that is, when don't I get a weird vibe from Boone about anything? Um,
Good point. Good point.
um, but yeah, we got one good press conference out of Boone, and because everything went so well against Houston. So that there wasn't the yabber dabber do stuff going on. And he's talking through gauze because he's really not saying anything. So yeah, always the weird vibes. And supposedly now DJ is coming back soon, just about there, turning a corner, turning a page. I don't know. If we get him back soon, that's great. I could tell you one thing: he's not going to be the leadoff guy. I think if he goes back to leadoff, that's going to be just a crazy decision. I can't rule it out because Lord knows what I think are crazy decisions are made every day there. But um,
I I wouldn't rule it out with Boone. I but I also don't think it would be a horrible thing. I don't Glaber's not a leadoff.
oh yeah, no, Glaber's not it.
Yeah.
No.
Do you think are you thinking Volpe should be the leadoff?
Well, that's what I would have thought 3 games ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he's been his bat has been you know
Mhm.
everything that he seemed to take on with the flatter plane and going all the way through with the bat was lost the past few games, and it showed in lack of production. So I'm sure that's really temporary, and today will be the day he busts through. I think he is like in the running then if it won't be DJ when he gets back. But if DJ is going to be out any much longer, then Glaber has to move down until he gets hot again.
Yeah.
Maybe he saw the Three Kings do it, and today he's going to say, "Okay, I gotta bust out today." But um,
I think he watches too many strikes in the one hole, like in the one hole of the rotation, or yeah, the rotation, the lineup. Um, I don't know if he thinks that's his role there to be more patient, but he just yeah, he doesn't look comfortable there.
no, nope. And FL, are you saying that Doogie Dog should be the leadoff? I'm trying to grab the context from the chat's going so fast. But if it's in line with what we're talking about, um,
What about Doogie against righties and Volpe against lefties?
you're thinking like a smart manager. That could certainly work. Why not platoon the leadoff spot? Um, and Doogie has to get hot sometime with his bat. He almost had that home run the other night. So
I know.
um,
Oh,
I
I
feel
was
like he
ready
was
for
robbed
him.
by the weather. But I think that I expect a lot more from him. Maybe the chains are weighing him down, altering his swing a bit.
Yeah,
Get a lighter chain.
the yeah.
Um, and TC saying Volpe for leadoff is inevitable. All right, we'll see. I mean, he's been the golden child for a minute now, and
Mhm.
so I would not be surprised at all. And Donnie, how dare you cheat on us watching Mania, whatever Mania ball instead of
WrestleMania.
baseball last night? Yeah, WrestleMania, Muscle Mania. Well, in a way, it is. So, Donnie, you're just gonna have to catch up, guy. Um, so, by the way, anyone see today's lineup? Because it's up. So, not too much has changed from last night. We got Torres leading off, Soto, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton at fifth again. Then Doogie, Volpe, Wells, Cabrera, and Hill. So, that's 2 days in a row, other than with the catcher, that it looks identical. Pitcher with new pitcher and catcher. Um, so I want to talk about Stroman for a hot minute. If we want to think about who really stood out to us this week, I want to toss that out to you too, Jonna. Like, who's king of the week for the Yankees? And the chat too. Like, MVP or player of the week for the Yankees. So I'm tossing Stroman's name out there. Mostly because I was so against him and I had prejudicial notions about him in terms of like, oh, he's going to be a distraction in the clubhouse. He's going to be, a wild card with the press, etc. Because he's always, it's one thing to have swag, but to me, he was a lot extra about it. And look, to me, from the minute those pinstripes came on, actually, from his first press conference, he was a Yankee as far as I was concerned. You believe that he was a Yankee, and it was like he'd always worn those stripes. And so, and what I'm most impressed about, other than his production, which I'll talk about, is how he's handling the press. And the Stroman I knew before, when being interviewed, it would be a lot of I. And this time around, it's been, you know, well, I was able to do that because the guys I had behind me. He's saying things like that. And so, like, to me, he's in the Yankee way already.
I
And
think he always wanted to be here. He was sour, he was bitter, and that's why he said the things that he did in the past. I think, I mean, obviously, there's a reason why Cole wanted him here, why Judge wanted him here, and they were part of bringing him here. Um, he has matured a lot, yes.
yeah,
Um, and actually, so if you all follow him, go follow him on Instagram too, because after every game, he like posts, if Judge hits a home run or whatever, he posts him on his story. If like Rizzo, Verdugo, whoever, he's a hype man, and I really like that about him.
yeah, yeah. He brings the right energy. And I think that I heard, I forget who we were talking with at the time during the marathon yesterday, that when he was out warming up, he was engaging with fans out in the outfield. He went all the way around to talk to everybody that was like there hanging over the fence.
I love
And
that.
yeah, I just really love that. And it feels really good. And he has had 12 clean innings
Yeah,
since the start of the season. No earned runs. And so everything has sort of been robbed from him.
yeah,
And that just really sucks.
I
So,
agree.
when all cylinders are kicking at the same time together, um, he's not going to be the ace. I think he knows that, but Rodon better watch his second spot at some point, perhaps, because I just think Stroman wants to succeed so much he could taste it, and I could taste it for him.
I like what FL Diver JC said. I hope he's as contagious for the rotation as Soto is for the lineup. I think he already is having that effect on, like, actually the whole clubhouse. I think him, and honestly, I think Verdugo too. He's been as much of a hype man, and he seems like so pumped to be here.
Yep, yep. Um, and that's another one I didn't expect. I'll always be annoyed by the Luke Voigt thing. Like, at least he's not unbuttoning the first four buttons of his jersey yet. But enough with the change. You gotta chip a tooth. And I heard that they've limited him to one chain, which I saw
I
yesterday.
saw that
Uh,
too, which cracked me up. But I like it. Hey, if he feels like that gives him like swagger,
I
uh,
know.
we
I sh-
needed a little of that attitude because Judge is too humble. I love him to death. We all do. But he's a little bit too humble. Like sometimes he could use a little bit of that. Like I'm a dog, Like
yeah.
Vertigo and Stroman, they're like I'm a dog, and like sometimes we need that kind of energy around us. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I need to be a little bit less of an old lady. And the thing is, and I agree, and actually, what I find, just so adorable, is the way he is a dog, but sometimes he's a little puppy, and like the way when he makes a great play. This happened in Houston with that tremendous catch he made. the first thing he did was look at Judge,
I
like, and
yeah.
run over to him like
Like,
a
"Are you
puppy to
proud of
the
me?
bone.
Aren't
Like,
you proud of me?" Yeah.
Daddy,
Yeah.
look what I did. Look what I got.
I know, that's so true, but it's also, like, so cute. I think that's so, like, endearing.
It is, and that's when, when I'm sitting there going, instead of swearing at the TV watching a game, that's a good day. So yeah, I think he's bringing the right kind of energy. We're not going to see any of the antics. I mean, we're talking about Stroman maturing, already in the pinstripes. It looks like, just being in those has sombered, Doogie up a
Verdugo.
bit,
Agreed.
and you're right, really great energy for the clubhouse, and really that was lacking, and understandably. But hey, Jonathan, great to see you. We haven't had that. I mean, to me, that's dynasty energy. That's that it factor that we had in the 90s that we haven't really clicked on in that way, and this is feeling the most similar to it, so far. And yeah, Donnie, that's it. As soon as I decreed hashtag Doogie Dog, that's exactly what I said. Dogs in the box, not savages in the box anymore. Poor John is going to be so busy making T-shirts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and yeah, pit bulls, any kind of dog, as long as it's a dog that can, produce runs and avoid errors. I'll take that dog, whatever breed that is. Um, so, Jono, what else would you like to put out there for a discussion before we?
Well, just on the topic of, like, who could be the hero of the week, I also wanna
Yes,
give a huge nod to, Volpe, because he has now reached base 15 times in 29 at bats, and like a lot of that happened actually this week. So not during the Houston series, but like a lot of that
right.
happened during the last few games. And so, yeah, his on base percentage is now 455. So he's now leading the team in on base percentage. So my hero of the week is Volpe.
I'm glad you did that because that's absolute fact. That's why the numbers exist. And you know, my focus has been so much on him not being the full package, which is really unfair. It's what you want, it's what you need, but and I know he'll get it back. He did so much work. And little guys growing up. I mean, he came back with muscle on the upper body there, and he's gonna, I mean, already, he's a homegrown Yankee. He's a career Yankee. I'm already shooting ahead. And John, I think you and I even discussed this. When Judge retires, he'll be the captain. You just see that in him.
Yep.
And so no, I'm with you on that, and I'm very comfortable with that. I don't know if anyone in the chat feels like somebody else was like the king of the week. But that I think is an excellent choice. I don't have anything to counter that other than what I said about Stroman. Um, yeah, FL saying let Volpe be Volpe. Yeah, and so
Yep.
yeah,
I agree.
agreed. And
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 he
and
is coming into his own, you know? He really
yeah,
is.
it's hard to remember how young these guys are, um, and how much is on them. But you
Yep.
know, and Soto is breaking out more and more. So there's never been a blip of a concern of like, he's been producing all the way through, but he's hitting those clutch hits right down the line and getting guys in, and so we're so well off. We're so set up, and we just got to take the series from Blue Jays. I want to be Vladdy Jr.'s daddy,
Oh
and
my God, yes.
you know, and
Sit
and, and
him down. Send him to McDonald's across the street, catty
seriously,
corner from the stadium.
I'll give Billy's my credit card. Send him to Billy's. Let him sit at the bar.
Yeah.
I just think, oh, he gets to me. He really does. He will never wear pinstripes. He would not be worthy of them. Um, oh, and
Bratty,
so
bratty.
yeah, FL Diver, the final numbers are still being tallied because donations are still coming in. And so we're definitely over the 500 mark, which was our hopeful minimum and ticking. So again, and for those of you that don't know, Pinstripe Chronicles, we did our first ever fundraiser, and it was actually on behalf of Chris Northrup's husband, Pete. So when Chris stepped down, it was because her husband Pete, who has Parkinson's, and Parkinson's is a chronic progressive disease. Things have accelerated a bit for Pete, and Chris needed to really be there with him 24/7. And so, but you know what? Chris continues to be part of the Pinstripe Chronicles family. And so when Tats called me and said, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna, hold a fundraiser on YouTube, and we just wanted to make that happen. And there's so many people in the chat, great content creators and podcasters of their own, the Strike Zone, Four Train Express, we're there without question. Whatever you need, whatever time, the Morning Brew, Hector and Jiggerman, if you're not following any of those podcasts, you must, because they really said we'll drop anything and be there. Just tell us what time to show up, and showed up with donations and sat with us, spent their time with us talking ball. And that's what, say what you want about our fan base, but we come together, and we're really good people. But if you're not good to us, we're still Yankee fans, and you're gonna know it. But super grateful for that. And so Donnie, we FL Diver and everybody that was there with us yesterday and listening. Tats will be crunching those numbers. Numbers are still coming in, so we'll keep you posted. But super happy that we had the support that we did. And the recordings are on the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about Parkinson's, because the other goal we had was to raise awareness, and April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. Watch the first hour, watch part one, because Chris and Pete were our guests. And, Pete tells his story and tells it well and poignantly. And Chris, you all know Chris. Chris spoke so well to it also. And I thought that was just very courageous of Pete to do. So if you catch any of it, I highly recommend that first hour. But also, obviously, there was so much laughing and off the rails things going on. It was mayhem, and I'm just glad it wasn't a dancing marathon, because I wouldn't even be vertical right now. I'm barely vertical from sitting for 12 hours. Um, so yeah, thank you for asking that, FL. And again, thank you everyone here and listening that was involved. Um, and so let's with that, let's pivot to and by the way, I'm going to put the link in case you're interested in the comments when we wrap, to the World Parkinson Coalition. But what are your last thoughts going into today's game and into the Marlins, Jonna? What are we going to be dealing with?
We got to take the series today against the Blue Jays, and so stay undefeated on the series. So yeah, we got to keep Vladdy off the base. Somebody said that we got to keep Vladdy off the base.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to another full week of baseball.
Yeah, me too. And John and I were talking before the show, and at first I was like, oh, thinking at least it's the Marlins next, because that was a hell of a opening to the season, between Houston and the Jays and the Diamondbacks. But you can't take anything for granted. And this could be their 0 wins, I think, right?
Yeah.
They got to be primed and ready to
Like, we
go.
don't want to be there first. When, you know?
It's probably inevitable that they'll take one from us. But so yeah, let's take the series from these birds. Let's clip the wings because they're really annoying.
Yeah,
Um,
they really are.
so I'm gonna go back to the trivia question of the week and get the answer to you guys. So I saw some answers in the chat. I saw Granderson. I saw Posada. There may have been others, and so congratulations, Lori. The Grandy man can. Um, so yeah, so Curtis Grandison was the third Yankee. Let me get this down for a second. Yeah. So there we go. For those of you that missed what the question even was. So there were three that hit grand slams in the same game. And there's three. Robbie Cano, don't you know, Russell Martin, and the Grandy man. So I think that's a wrap for our very first episode together with Jonna here. Once again, just so happy to have her as my co-host. And as always, you have a reserved seat with Jonna and me right here on the upper deck. Let's go, Yankees!
Go Yanks!